Hey everyone, in today's video I will be critiquing some of my previous painting and together we can paint another version of a beach scene. Before we get into the video itself, I just wanted to mention that the Tracy Lebenzon brushes, these are handmade by Tracy in the US, and he offers a lifetime warranty. So he really believes in his product, and I'm just really grateful that he sent these out to me. So I am affiliated with him, and I do have a discount code for you. If you use my name, Irit, you will get 20% off your brush order this month. Coming September 1st, it goes down to 10%. So if you've been on the fence or you really want to treat yourself to one or more of his brushes, now is the time. Take advantage of the discount code. My personal all-time favorites, hands down, love it, use it every single time I sit down and paint. And recently I have tried to use other brushes and nothing compares. I use this for very expressive brush strokes. It works wonderfully well when it's kind of more saturated. It holds enough pigment, but not like too much that it's all like a drippy mess. And when it's drier, I still can get more fine lines that are, you know, just more intense. So for expressive brushwork, this is amazing. It's my favorite and I just love it. Mine has 4 centimeters long bristles, and it's perfection in my book. So if you paint my style, then I think you would love this brush. If you paint larger, you might want to consider to upgrade to the bigger mama. This is the large soft white synthetic, $120, and this one is the Wangi orange synthetic, $55. So this is half the price, and I love them both. When I paint really big, I use this one, but for this kind of size, this is perfect for me. And these brushes really elevated my experience and I think also my results. That's my opinion. I wouldn't promote anything that I don't 100% believe in and have used heavily. You can look at my videos from the last almost year, I think, and you will see this brush or one of its sisters in pretty much every video. And I also use it off camera. So I love it. And those of you that have also purchased have written to me that you also love yours. They're the magic wands of brushes. So let's get into the video. But if you do want one, now is the time, as long as the discount is still 20% and not 10%. Let's get to today's video. I think this is going to be a fun video. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you all of the versions that I created recently. I did actually explore this subject already in the past as part of my intuitive watercolor class. But yeah, this is very, very recent, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all of the versions that I made, and we are just going to take notes, and I actually mean notes, and I'm using my trusted logbook from Chatty. I think I've said it a gazillion times in the past. I'm just going to, this is from, I think, I don't know, video or video for a class or video for the channel, no idea. But I like these two together. So this is my logbook, and it's just a great place for all of my watercolor adventures. So I'm going to write beach scene, love, and let go. So I'm not even going to be super negative, and I just want to take notes of the things that, yes, you're right, I love, and the things that I don't. And I will go actually I will go more chronologically, I guess. So this was, I think, the very, very first sketch that I made. So it's very basic, and it was very fast, and I had this really weird line here that was just there because this is papers that I use when I paint with my 5-year-old. And so there's not a lot here that I really feel I can talk about, but what I do like in this one is I do like the lavender color, so I'm going to write that down here. And yeah, and I think actually this is some sort of mixture. There's lavender here, and yeah, I'm not sure what I mixed it with, but lavender and granulation. I can never have enough of that, and scribbly lines. So hopefully, because this was super fast and basic and quick, I don't have a lot to take from this, but hopefully as we go on, we will see which patterns emerge in what I enjoy. And yeah, I also want to say sometimes I get comments that I'm like being too harsh or something like this, but I think the more I explain my process, I think the more obvious it becomes that I just want to improve and, you know, kind of fine-tune what I love about a certain subject and about certain techniques and colors and just what speaks to me. And I'm not like beating myself up or being negative or anything like that. I always look for the good and then other things that just didn't work. And I, you know, don't want to repeat the things that didn't work. So this was the first version, and this just kind of planted the idea and the enthusiasm about this topic. And what I have noticed also is that the paper is very important in the result. And certain papers are just like this. I think the Canson Montval, which is one of my favorite papers for, you know, just practicing. It just doesn't do justice, I feel, to this subject, especially if I want that granulation, which is what I love. And I just think, you know, it adds so much. And I don't know, something about it just doesn't give me those happy vibes. So I'm thinking no Montval. As I said, it's usually for like my florals. I don't feel it hinders my enjoyment of the process or the result. But this time I'm not loving it. So there we go. Okay, this one. What I like about this, and I think it's repeated throughout the paintings, is I like it when the water in my, or the I don't know, representation of water in my paintings has other colors. So water with many colors, I'm gonna write. Not just teal. Because I have a version, I think we'll get to it, where it was just teal and it felt really boring to me. What I'm not really loving in this particular version are these, like the shape, it just needs more work. It's kind of sloppy, but not in the way that I like it to be sloppy. And I think a part of it is also the paper, or maybe the brush that I used. I'm not sure. So there's nothing really specific that I can like put my finger on and describe it. But I guess just like, I'll write sloppy sun umbrellas. Umbrellas in my let go, and just, you know, pay more attention to it. Okay, another thing I'm not liking is not to use a lot of this like bright yellow Neocolor one that I use. Don't abuse bright yellow Neocolor one. So I'm gonna write that. Excuse me. And yeah. Okay, then I painted this one. This one is like my least favorite, and I think a part of it is the paper. I don't know. It was just, you see here I added like this on top of the turquoise. At the beginning it was just turquoise, and it felt so flat, and so, you know, here's a blob of turquoise and here's a blob of other colors, and it just didn't work for me. What I do like is shadows in Moonglow. I really like that. And splatters are always a good idea, so I don't need to write that down. I know it. I think I also like for the water area the Neocolor one teal for water. I like how that looks. And yeah, this was not really a version that I liked. It's my least favorite probably of the bunch. Okay, this one is good. So these are all on this paper. And I love this paper. I really need to stock up because these are very inexpensive. This is by Handmade, sorry. This is by Handmade. This is a German brand. If you're in Europe, try to get your hands on a pad of this. I don't know if it's available in North America or other parts of the world. This just appeared in my local art store. You can see it has no name. It's called Aquarelle. It has a good product placement of Da Vinci and Schminke. Yeah, more Schminke here. And it is really heavy paper, so it's more than the usual 300 GSM that, you know, usually that's what is recommended for watercolor artists. This is 435 GSM, 200 pounds, and it is quite white, and it has this lovely texture, exactly like I like. It's kind of like a canvas almost. It has a very, to me, it's textured, but it's not like, look at me texture. I love it. It's not like really rough watercolor paper, and it just does beautiful things to granulation. So this is what I've just been enjoying to paint on, and I don't need cotton paper, and for such like a heavy paper, it's very affordable. I have, I think, 2 more pads just stocked up. Probably next time I go to the art store, I'll probably buy more just because I enjoy this so much, and because it's quite affordable, I don't feel horrible just to go through a pad. So let's just take a look here. And there's a lot to take in, I'm aware. So I don't know, maybe we should... This is probably my favorite version. I think what I like is a portrait composition. I have this one, the big one that I really don't like, that is landscape, and then this one is also landscape, and I just feel it has, this feels kind of more calm. That's okay, but I really love the energy of this, and I think it's almost like an unexpected you know, orientation for a beach scene. Usually I feel like the ones I've seen are kind of, they tend to be more of like landscape, but maybe that's just me. So lots of gestural strokes and white space. I have a version, where's that other version? Don't know if it's here. I don't know if it's one of these or maybe I kind of dumped it, where I really started, I went back to what I used to do a lot, which was this like initial wash that many artists paint like that, you know, like Jean Haynes and Angela Fair and a lot of their paintings. I adore their style. That's why I always give them as an example, just because it was hard for me to let go of certain things that they do because I love their style so much. But I learned that, you know, certain things that work for them just didn't work for me. So if I mention them, it's just because I've been so influenced and inspired by their style and artwork. So it's just like, it took time to figure things out. But yeah, so that initial wash doesn't work for me. I find when I do it, I really lose the light. I have a tendency to go a bit heavy-handed with watercolors. And so this kind of loose gestural style with more white space, I feel works really well for me and helps me to keep things very fresh. Let's talk a little bit about colors. So my list is already gone. I think it's just going to be mostly, you know, what do I want to repeat? And, you know, if I want to repeat like a pink sand, then I don't necessarily have to write that I don't like yellow sand. But it's just like a note to self. So you can see here, that's another thing I don't like. I don't like that the sand here is very yellow. So I'll just write that. Having said that, I'll just write no to yellow sand. It just doesn't work for me. Just doesn't work. And I think a part of it is that I really like a very intentional use of yellow. And when I have too much of it, I don't know, it's just, it's not a color that granulates, unless if you watched my previous video where I was setting up, oh my God, try not to break the house. Where I was setting up this palette, I actually used the granulation medium from Winsor & Newton with the core quinacridone gold, which is one of my go-to yellows, and it just created the most lovely effect. So I might take advantage of that. There it is. So the quinacridones, as far as I remember, they're not supposed to granulate, or they don't granulate. And the granulation medium from Winsor & Newton, it has a very kind of unexpected effect. I feel from my personal experimenting with it, with some colors it doesn't do a lot, and then with others it does. So you kind of have to see how it behaves with your choice of colors. But I found that especially with the core, with a color that is completely not granulating, it was really interesting. I mean, look here. Look at that. So I think that might be really fun to try and replicate in one of the paintings or in another version. But yeah, I just find it to be, especially if I use Naples yellow, which can be, which is a more opaque color. This is just too flat. So no to yellow sand, no to opaque Naples yellow for sand. It just doesn't work. Yeah, no. Just no. Okay, so this one, I think this was one of my more recent versions, like one of the last ones. And I think there are a lot of things here to love. In general, there's a bit too much yellow here for me, and especially like these areas, there's just too much yellow. So X-nay on the yellow way, whatever. I never understood that language, but yeah, but what I'm loving here, and I hope you can see, and I think you would agree, is this granulation. How did I do this? That is a really good question. There's definitely moon glow here. I think it's with a little bit of quinacridone gold. I think this is how we got here. I should really film everything that I do. One of my ways of, you know, just painting, not getting too much into my head and kind of being, you know, breezy about it, I'm breezy, is before I go to sleep, you know, right when I'm going to sleep, before I go to sleep, I just stop at my studio and I just do a quick painting. Like quick, I mean 5 to 10 minutes. See what happens. And this was such a painting. And yeah, so I didn't put as much thought as I usually do to the colors, but all kinds of interesting things did happen. And yeah, this kind of moon glow with, I'm thinking, quinacridone gold is really beautiful. And I really love these like stains of this kind of corally, yeah, mostly coral, but very watered down sand areas. I like those. And maybe doing the umbrellas a little bit smaller, that might work. Maybe it just gives you more of a, like a, you know, you're in the distance and you're looking to that beach and you're not like right in it. So I do like that. So while a lot of things here are not really working for me, something about it as a whole does work for me. And certain things that again, like, are annoying me is just a little bit too much of that yellow crayon. So that's just what jumps to me. You might love it. So it's all about what works for you. Okay, this one has a lot of things that I like, but it's definitely, I think you would agree, definitely has a different atmosphere than this one, right? This one looks more like sun-bleached, like, you know, kind of that burnt out summer haze day. And then this one is like blurb, like in your face, carnival beach. So very, very colorful. Maybe I need to tone down the colors a little bit, but I go back and forth on this particular issue. So some days I'm all about the colors, and then maybe other days it would work for me. But I definitely like the, going to expand my love row and write coral watered down sand, because I really like that. And what I also like, and I think you can see it in other paintings, are the areas where my sea meets my beach. It's all very abstract. Is it has several colors and a lot of granulation, but still white space, so it kind of gives you could imagine the foam on the waves or something like that. So sand meets sea. I would say teal, moon glow, and yellow splatters. And you know, making this list is just also just a way to put it in my head so that it's there and I'm thinking about it. And here, I do like some of that ochre neocolor one. So it's this one here. It's so much better. You can see a little bit scribbles here and a bit here. It's so much better than that bright yellow. Just works a lot better. And yeah, I really like that. So here again, there's a lot of, this is very, very energetic. There's a lot of white space and a lot of gestural strokes. I like both of these approaches. I like this more of like a puddle of color here that represents the sea. But I also like this. This is like so fun, right? It's like a fun, happy summer day. And yeah, I like that. Anything else that pops? I do like the bright rose, but I feel it has to be very, very careful with bright rose. let's take a look at this one. What I think, I don't know which one I used, like that initial wash. I don't think it was this, but you can see the difference between this one and this one. First of all, value. Here we have the dark values that here we really don't have, like these lines, and here. It just gives so much more dimension. This looks very, very flat. Also the white, like all of these like highlights, you know, here there's white just next to the darkest values, so it's just, your eye goes immediately there. Same here. Here there's not a lot of white. There's a lot of light values, but there's really no pop of white like we have here under the umbrellas. So this one needs a bit more like darker values, but it could be that it was just like an initial, you know, like I just didn't have enough time with this. What I like about this one, that here I don't really have, are the splatters of teal, not just in the sea. So this is something that I have found to me makes a big difference. That I really don't like it when I look at the final result, when I have one color that is only present in one area of my painting and nowhere else. And you know, with the beach scene, there's no real reason for turquoise to be on the beach unless, you know, you're depicting some item that is also turquoise. So I just use splatters, and that's how I bring the turquoise to the rest of the composition. So splatters of teal on beach. That's what I'm gonna say. And again, because I use a cobalt, it's beautifully granulating. I want to try using Amazonite from Daniel Smith and see how that works. But for the most part, I find that I really like the brightness of cobalt teal. Yeah, and here, I mean, you can just see the beauty of it. I think that's beautiful, with a bit of moon glow and a little bit of those corally colors that I used for the sand. I really like that. And again, I'm loving the teal next to moon glow, and then these kind of sand colors, or colors that I use to represent the sand. Yeah, I think that's what is jumping at me here. And then this version has a much tighter composition, and this one already looks to me kind of overworked. It doesn't really have the freshness or energy of this, probably because of the bottom part. And I don't know, maybe also the top, just like this shape just feels a bit weird. It's like, it feels too small to go with the beach. I don't know, it just feels like it should be more open, or, you know, just, yeah, just like more open. Or if I closed it on this side, then just leave it open on this side and not make this kind of cup shape. That's what disturbs me here. And what I like about this one is I kind of like the weird representation of something, like the idea of something in the back here. But this whole thing is not, it's just, maybe it's better when they're not really touching each other. And here I think this also needs work, that these are too similar. Like these need to be less colorful, less bright, less everything, so that this one can really pop. Okay, so I don't want to talk anymore because I've talked enough. I want to focus so that we can paint things. So the first thing the first two things, instead of like trying to take all that advice and just have, you know, your mind cluttered with like 20 things you should do, let's start slowly. So in my process, I start with sketching with Neocolor 1s. This is Neocolor 2, go away for now. And Neocolor 1 are water resistant. That's how I like to start. And I'm going to take a look now at everything and decide on which colors I want to use. So I definitely like a little bit of accents with the ochre color. White I always use. And let's look. I know I didn't like a lot of this color, so these are going to be like the accents. I'm going to leave them more to the end, and I'll do more with the white. And I do like these two colors. This is salmon and the pink one is pink. Very nice. And I'm just looking to see. I definitely like, I think I like the pink in this case a bit more. I also like a little bit of accent with this one. This is purple and blue. I'm not scared of color. I love color. It's usually about how much, and I find I really enjoy just a pop of many colors, but then using one, like using a limited amount of colors for the main, for most of like what I do, most of the real estate. Let's see which other colors are speaking to me here. Yeah, I like this one for the water a little bit. And I'm wondering about the light yellow. Yeah, I like that one also. Okay, so I think that's good about the colors. So these will be kind of more the main colors, and then these will be more accents. Let's think about composition. So I definitely know I want the water more to be like this. And for the sun umbrellas, I think I like kind of a combination of this and this. So this one seems a bit more like a, I don't know, circus tent. And then this one is more like mushroomy like, that kind of, I think reminds me more of sun umbrellas. I'm sorry if you hear noises. My daughter is home and she likes to make a lot of noise. So there's also something I really like about this shape. I don't know, it just makes me happy. Can't really explain it. But also like just the sketching here kind of speaks to me. And a little bit more than this one. I love the energy of this painting, but when I'm looking at the details, I think here I kind of enjoy more this. It has a little bit more of an interesting line work, and I did use the blue for this. I'm not sure which blue. It was probably that dark blue. Or it could be, the problem is that a lot of the, yeah, it was also this one. There are some really beautiful colors that are not available in the Neocolor 1 and are only available in the Neocolor 2. It's not a big deal. It kind of depends how you use it. You can't disturb, if you don't really disturb these too much, the Neocolor 2, the ones that are water soluble, or if you use them kind of on top of watercolor when your watercolor is already dry, it kind of behaves like the Neocolor 1. And I do have some colors that I love that they don't make in the Neocolor 1, which is very unfortunate. So I do like some of the things here. Okay, at some point you have to let things go. and, you know, just like go for it, and not every time I try to replicate something, it ends up just, you know, it doesn't have that freshness. It doesn't have the energy that painting completely, you know, completely loosely has. Are these two? No, it's just so thick. Yeah, this also makes me kind of happy. There's a lot of the yellow here. That's not good, but we've made a note of this. Okay, so I do think I prefer this. And I've tried in the past to start with the white. That's not very good because then I can't see what I'm doing. I'll zoom out so you can see everything. So I will start with the pink because I'm feeling this pink lately. And I just want to kind of make some placeholders and not get too much into the details. Just like have fun with it. I really, you know, if you like very, you know, abstract, like kind of expressionist art, and you're more into like color than any kind of like realism or something like that. I have found that there are like artists that I love that completely ignore rules of, you know, anything real, any kind of real composition. And there are artists that kind of push the boundaries with all of these, and somehow it works. So I try not to be too, like, I just want to enjoy the process and make something pretty and, you know, something that kind of works for me. And I don't need it to be realistic or have a composition that is correct or any way. I'm like fine with it. So now we can add just the pops, and this of course you can add actually at any stage of the painting, but I don't know, I like to start with kind of this happy colorful sketch. Makes me happy. And I sometimes like to hold the pastel in just like weird ways so that it gives me fun lines. Fine lines. Fun lines. So I do want to look like what I liked about this one. I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like almost like a piece of fruit, and that made me happy. I'm trying to think a little bit about light and shadow, not in the way that, you know, here's my light source and this part has to be light and this part has to be in the shadow, just in a way that will create some interest. And I don't really, honestly, I just want to have fun. And, you know, it's like somewhere under these umbrellas, there's going to be more shade. That's how my mind is like working. I'm already having fun. This is super fun. There's just like a little bit with the yellow because I didn't like it. And I think we used all the colors. Did I use this one? Yeah, I did. Okay, at this stage, I decided I just wanted to play and not talk anymore because I was talking a lot. So yep, this is a very long video, and if you stuck with me, then I really appreciate it. I hope you are painting along. That would make me really, really happy. And if not, then I hope it's just, you know, resonating with you and you already have all kinds of ideas of what you want to make and things you like and things you want to try, you know, swirling around in your head. So I kept this painting very probably minimalistic for me, and I kind of like it. I need to marinate a little bit. And if you are still watching, then I just wanted to say I will be away from YouTube for at least 10 days. I sadly have kind of a family emergency and I need to be with my family. And yeah, it is what it is. So I won't be home for a few days. And it's like the circumstances are stressful enough. The reason I'm not giving you details is not because I'm like, hiding or teasing or anything. It's just not my issues to tell. So I never share other people's medical or other information. But yeah, it's stressful enough without the pandemic. And now with the pandemic, it's just like, yeah, hopefully, hopefully I can get to my destination, and I'm fully vaccinated, and I'm taking today a PCR test, which I have to, and then when I land, I also have to take another test, and I have to wait for the results. And I'm absolutely fine with any precautions, but it's just like the things, the pace that things change and regulations change, that you always have this, or at least I have this kind of fear that I'm not even sure, like, will I get on the plane? Will I be able to? And I've been very careful. I'm always careful, but I've been especially careful in the last couple of weeks because I knew I would have to fly. But I'm thinking, like, today, if I take the test and I'm positive, then I can't go. And it's just like, just that added level of uncertainty is really not fun. Okay, so let's get back to the painting. I just wanted to say, because I have always very, very lovely concerned questions if I'm not on YouTube, and that is the reason. I hope to be back soon, but when I do come back from my trip, my kids, like both kids, are home for the summer vacation until mid-September, and so I don't know. I will do my best because I still want to paint. So I'll just do my best to, film it. And even if it's like short videos, still post something and stay creative. It also keeps me motivated because I do love to post on YouTube and, chat with you in the comments. But I can't guarantee. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, okay, let's get back to the painting now. Once I started talking about the family issues, if you go back to that point in the video, you don't have to listen again just to look at that image. There was only a little bit of this kind of salmon color on the page, and there is something about it. I really, I guess my personal, like, what gets me excited, what I am really enjoying, it really goes on that it kind of lives in that area of a sketch, more of a sketch and less of a painting, which is very frustrating because I'm not a minimalist, but I still really respond to more minimalistic sketches. And I do like sketching with the Neocolor One. It's definitely a very enjoyable part of my process. One of my goals is to remove all unpleasant stages in my process. But still, my favorite part of all the good parts, it's still putting down watercolors. And with watercolors, they're so annoying because less is more so many times, and I just want to keep on going. There's Ella's hand. And I think, one way to do that is to work on multiple paintings at a time, or not be afraid to just, start 5 paintings. My other issues come into play where I just don't have the discipline or focus or whatever to come back to an older painting and finish it. And I just lose interest. I don't even know if it's like laziness. I just lose interest. I'm more kind of excited when I'm in the moment. And I don't really have that, yeah, motivation or excitement to work on a painting in the duration, like, for during days or weeks. And so a big part of my process is finding mediums that can help me finish a painting in one sitting. And the thing with watercolors is, I talk about this a lot, is that once you start overworking with them, the painting loses its freshness. And that's always the battle, when to stop. And so this current rant is just the problem that I don't get, I just want to keep going with the watercolors because it's so much fun, but then I feel the result and the painting suffer for it. And so for me, it's probably a good idea, in the moment to control myself, stop for a second, and then either decide where I can very carefully and intentionally use more watercolor. Usually at these stages, like later stages, it would be for expressive brush strokes. It would be with more concentrated paint, or move to other mediums that A, still make me happy, and B, can enhance my painting and the watercolors, and C, I can work with them immediately. And for me, for example, that is oil pastels, because with oil pastels, like the super, super soft ones from Sennelier, for example, I can go in and add all kinds of pops of color and, even white. I can brighten up certain areas, add that very painterly kind of oily texture that really contrasts in the most wonderful way, in my opinion, with watercolors. I think you can just hear my excitement in my voice as I'm talking about it. And that kind of helps me, finish a painting in one sitting. And this all goes back to that idea of finding your own process, your own way, and making it work for you. And at some point, unlearning what you may have, thought you must do because wonderful artists that you think very highly of swear by that process or that technique. And it's just, there's no one thing that works for everyone. And one of the most exciting things for me that actually happened during this pandemic, because, we were home more, and I really needed at times to sit down and paint for my mental health, is and is the discovery of my own ways and what works for me. And if you go back to my videos, I think you will, if you've been here for, the long haul, I think it's very obvious to see how my style emerged through all of this. And I think from what I see, I watch less art videos than I used to, because I feel like I just need to draw inspiration from within and from myself and from my supplies and my tools. And I really feel that what I make now, even if it's sketches, even if it's raw, even if it's, ugly, it is so much more unique and authentic than it was a year ago, a year and a half ago. And that is beyond exciting. And it's just, there's so much of, it's just, what's the word? I don't know. It just makes me finally kind of see the light in my battle or conflict of, will I ever make artwork that is unique, that is authentic, that is recognizable, that is I'm not even talking, like, I'm not even at the stage of like, will people want to buy it, or will I be, you know, financially successful from selling my original artwork? I hope to get there. It is a goal for me, but, you know, I would love to have work hanging in galleries and stuff like that. But right now, I'm just like in that process and creating a body of work and a voice that is me. And that has been really, really fun and very enjoyable. And yeah, I think I've said all I have to say. But that is kind of the main goal, to explore that. And I guess all the years until recently that I kept on painting, you know, it is kind of a leap of faith. If your goal is not just to, you know, paint a flower at this moment, which is a very, very worthy goal, don't get me wrong. But if your goal is to find your voice, is to create unique, authentic art that is recognizable, that is you, it is kind of a leap of faith. You know, you sit down, you paint, and you just hope that something comes eventually. And I'm a believer. What can I tell you? I believe that, you know, I have to some degree arrived, and then to a different degree on that journey. But I know that I'll get there eventually. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care. Stay safe. Bye bye.